congratulations on a Circus. Wow.
Thank you very much.
I really, really enjoy that. My goodness.
Great. Thank you.
So we'll get to that. But first, if we can, let's talk about Rainbow for a moment.
Sure.
So with Rainbow, my favorite song of Rainbow is Stargazer from the second album. And at that time in 76, when I was graduating high school, Starstruck was released as a single. And on the flip side of it was Run with the Wolf.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to get your comments on maybe those songs, especially Run with the Wolf.
Yeah, actually, when I started to listen to Rainbow, I'm talking about probably about 30 years ago, kind of, more or less.
Yeah.
It was because my father, rest in peace, he shows me first. I think the first thing I heard from Richie was it was Deep Purple with the Made in Japan album.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I was moving through this Deep Purple Family Tree, and then I discovered Rainbow. But for me, it was the first one. It was the first record, Richie Blackmore's Rainbow.
Okay.
And then I got this Rising album, and yeah, I remember it was labeled as a Starstruck as a single. And yeah, I always liked that song. Actually, I performed that song a couple of times with a Rainbow cover band I used to have in Spain some years ago. It was one of my favorites. I think it's a very dynamic, and it works really well on the live side. But then I was surprised about all the songs, like you mentioned before, Run with the Wolves. I like the groove. I like the way that Ronnie was singing on it. But I would say for me, also, probably Stargazer is my favorite. Even when I sing the song live, I was doing it with Rainbow, and then now doing it still on the set list for my solo band, because it's a song that I really enjoy singing, and I think that people, they really appreciate that we're doing that every time we can.
Good. Well, let's move from Rainbow to Rainbow Tears. One that is a bit rainbow-like, and the synthesizer from John Marco as well. Yeah. Everything started with Luca. When he asked me to do this collaboration, at first there were just like 4 or 5 songs, and when I listened to them, I heard this kind of a rainbow vibe, which it was something very interesting to me, because there's not too many bands that they can do that music styles nowadays. Everything turns more into heavy metal and this European disco metal, with all those very simple patterns, and I found it very interesting, especially a couple of songs. I would say Rainbow Tears, Judas also, and there was a very special song for me called To Ghost. I found it very, very Richie Blackmore's Rainbow, so that was the thing that got me into this collaboration. Yeah, with Two Ghosts, that acoustic guitar certainly reminds you of Richie. So you were talking about maybe the Mark III Deep Purple. Soldier of Fortune, is one, with the acoustic guitar, and even Blackmore's Night, with the acoustic guitar. So that is good. And then
actually, I sent this song to Candice and Richie for them to listen to it, because it sounds very Blackmore's Night to me.
It does.
So I sent the song to them, and they replied that the song is great and they really liked it.
Oh, good, wonderful. I loved it. I saw them. My daughter and I saw them. We were in Florida, and wow, it was magical.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
And then you also mentioned Judas. Boy, that's emotional. The way that you deliver it is definitely emotional.
Yeah. There was for me a challenge, and that's exactly the things that I like when I do collaborations. I don't like standard collaborations. I really move to something that it challenged me to do something different and out of my comfort zone. Because I am known as a rock heavy metal singer.
I would say I'm screaming the most of the times in every record, and everybody likes this raspy voice and all this stuff. But when you have this kind of songs with different dynamics, and you can play a little bit in different ways with the vocal performance, it's really challenging, and I really like it.
You mentioned Made in Japan. Burn the Witch, to me, is very Deep Purple-like.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's a very Deep Purple song, especially from that Mark II, Mark III era. Yeah, probably.
Yeah, definitely. My favorite is The Sleeper.
All right.
It is, the piano's wonderful. It's a masterpiece. It's wonderful. And again, you're not screaming. It's really, really well done.
I think I was trying to put different elements that the people they don't normally listen from my records, and especially based on the Ronnie James Dio way to sing before Rainbow when it was in Elf. This magnificent two records that I really loved, and he was singing with this more clear voice, and it was more melodic. So I based my performance on this record a lot on that period of Ronnie James Dio before Rainbow, and I think it really works. The people that I already friends of mine, they really listened to the record. They were actually telling me, I like that you were not, screaming and using the raspy voice. It's just, You sound different, and that brings something different to your catalog.
I saw him with Black Sabbath. Actually, it was called. They had a different name for the group, but anyhow, it was with Ronnie.
Heaven and Hell.
Heaven and Hell, that's it. So I saw Heaven and Hell with Alice Cooper together around 2007, and so it was great to be able to actually see Ronnie.
Yeah, I never had a chance to see him live, actually.
Yeah.
But I learned a lot from him, and especially because everybody knows and everybody likes the most that era from Rainbow, and then all those solo career with the Rainbow in the Dark and Heaven and Holy Diver and all this stuff when he's screaming more and he's just more raspy voice, more powerful voice. But I really appreciate the first records before Rainbow when he was singing more clear and more melodic, and there was more backing vocals, and I really like that. I think there's something like the people they don't appreciate much from Ronnie James Dio, and I think it's wonderful.
Yeah, absolutely. Shadowy Man, an interesting tempo change. It starts one way, ends another way, and Luca's guitar is fiery.
Yeah, I think Luca is a great guitar player, and actually, for me, the songwriting overall, the album is just wonderful. It's something that catch you to listen to the song from the beginning to the end, because you never know what's going to happen. So it keeps you in tune with what you are listening. For me, as I always say, to listen to a record, since I was a kid, and all this process that doesn't exist anymore, sadly, when you were saving money for a period of time, and then you were going to the record store to buy a record. You didn't know what it's inside.
Yeah.
And then you were waiting to get back home and put the record on the tape or whatever it was. And you were in a journey discovering the music that was in that record.
Oh.
Nowadays you release an album and everybody knows 3-4 songs already,
Yeah.
And there is no magic anymore in that.
No.
So for me, this record represents really well how it was when I was a teenager buying music,
Sure.
You listen from the beginning to the end, takes you to different landscapes and different scenarios, and is a discovering every moment you are listening through the songs. And I think that's a very well done songwriting there.
Well, so the ending is something, you talk about outside your comfort zone, Swing Little Girl.
Yeah, definitely. That's, as I said before, for me, it's, I really enjoy it going to the studio and doing this record, because for me, it was, even for me, when I was learning the songs, it was surprising, I was able to put some little details on my performance to change little things on the approach of the vocal performance, but it's pretty much what Luca did. I think it's wonderful, because even for me, recording the album, it was a joy. I was going every day to the studio and enjoying the songs. As I said before, sadly nowadays, with different productions, you get the songs, you go to the studio, it's like a machine. You record in 2-3 hours a song and then deliver the song and next. But it's different when you have the chance to actually interact with the songs in the way to think how you're gonna perform them. And in this album, I think that even the people they can listen to that when they are listening to the record. It's a very organic album. It's not just another standard product.
Where was the studio?
The studio is I live in Bucharest in Romania, and the studio is here. So
Right there.
I mean, I need to drive like an hour because I live out of the city, but I go there for a week, and
Okay. Now, were the guys there as well, or is it just you?
No, sadly no. But normally yes. For example, with my band, I try to do that because I have the same way of working with my music with my solo records. It's like I need to have the fans and the listeners to have an organic record with organic music, and for that the only way is to be all together. So I try to do that at the as much as I can. But sometimes Luca lives in Italy. He sent me the songs. I went to the studio. We were talking by FaceTime while doing the recording, and it was a very like a back and forward communication during the process. But it was cool.
Do you envision Circus doing any live performances, any festivals or anything?
I think that would be a good idea actually, because the songs are, in my opinion, they will be very enjoyable for the live side.
I would think so. Okay. Well, Ronnie, again, thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Have a wonderful night.
Same to you.
Take care. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.